Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. It is your girl Alana Simone. So first of all, I wanted to welcome you guys in. If you're new to the channel, welcome in. If you've been here for a while, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about a crooked way made straight. And so you guys, I think that this is just really important because oftentimes we don't even recognize how much God cares for us. And so what I mean by that is, like, even before the earth was created, even before we were born, even before we were even thought of, God thought of us. And so one thing that he did for us is create a path, and he made it straight. And so oftentimes we don't realize and recognize that there was a path created for us because we decide to do what we want. And so we oftentimes miss that because usually we're always on a crooked path. We're always going crooked. We're never going straight because why? We always like to take our life into our own hands. And so that's what I really wanted to talk about today, because it's really important. I feel like oftentimes, we feel like we have to figure out our life on our own, that we life is always hard, that there is never no happy days, that it's always just so bad, and it's always like something. And that's not really the case. I feel like especially my generation, we just feel, oftentimes a lot of people feel depressed, they feel sad, they feel let down, they feel like just all over the place. We have so many types of emotions. And I realize, and sometimes people don't realize this, because why? We choose to usually take our life into our own hands. We usually decide that we are our rulers, we are our creators, that we understand that people have told us about God. We may have grew up in church, we may have read the Bible a few times, we may have heard about God, all that stuff, but we just like, you know what, I'm gonna do what I want because I hear people, but I just want to figure it out. And everybody else is out here figuring out themselves, and so I'm gonna do it too. And so oftentimes that's what we do. We're like, forget about God, forget about rules, forget about anything. We're just gonna figure life out and do what we want. And if things start to mess up, then oh well, okay, that's just what's gonna happen. That's what's supposed to happen. And let me tell you today, that's not what's supposed to happen. That's not how we really should think of life. We should think of life as having good days, having bad days, having successes, having goals, having dreams, having vision. We should think of it more like that, because oftentimes I don't think, especially my generation, I don't think we take it so seriously. I think we just kind of feel like we're just living, and if it's my time to die, it's my time to die. It was just my time to die. And so we just like, we'll just do what we want up until that point. Like, and so oftentimes we do things, and half of the things we do be increasing our time to die, because we out here being reckless and then being like, whatever, like, if I die, then I die. But it's like, no, how about if you make better decisions, you're gonna live longer? Like, let's think about that. And so, yeah, it's a thing that happens, so often. And I think that we have to understand that God has created a path for us. Like, one of the beautiful things about the Bible, and why I encourage people to read it, is it's kind of like a book. It's telling a story. And so oftentimes people feel like it's not important because it's been written so long ago. So how does it apply to us now? But let me tell you, there are so many things in the Bible that is so beneficial to us in this day and age that we don't even recognize. Like, the Bible was one of the, like, pretty much the only book I've ever read or discovered that it doesn't matter what the season is, what year it is, the time, it still applies to us each and every day. And that's one thing I love about it, is because it gives us instructions daily. It gives us a guidance daily. It shows us a way. It shows us the way that God wanted us to go. It shows us the path that he wanted us to go, the straight path. And so oftentimes we don't even recognize that there is a path that's made straight for us, because why? We decide to do what we want to do. We decide that we don't want to have nothing to do with God. We decide that we can just figure it out ourselves. And we oftentimes don't realize how that's really causing us to live a life that's not fulfilling. That's not really, like, at the end of the day, we do stuff and we have lots of fun, which is great. But like, then sometimes we come home or look in the mirror and it's like, what am I really doing with my life? What is really going on? Is this all to life? And let me tell you that it's not. There's so much more to life that we haven't even discovered. But oftentimes we decide to do what we want. And so we feel like we could do what we want. We got it all figured out. But then we get stuck at a dead end because it's only so far we can go without, wanting to find something different, wanting to find something new. But no, we're young, and that's why we change so much. That's why we don't like commitment. That's why we, just all over the place. Because why? We are trying to create a path for ourselves, and once one way doesn't work, then we try another way. That way don't work, then we try another way. Okay, this way don't work, then we try another way. So now we hopping, now we crooked, now we zigzagging, now we everywhere. And so we taking extra turns, we taking extra paths that we didn't even have to take. Why? Because we decided to do what we wanted to do and didn't realize that there was already a path set before us. And so, that's really what I want you to think about today, because oftentimes we feel like we have to, figure out our own way. We feel like we have to create a path for ourselves, but we don't. I feel like it's so much harder to, try to figure out how to create a path for yourself. And oftentimes I get it. People, especially growing up in a Christian household, or, anything like that, a religious household, because you don't even have to be Christian. You could just be religious, and that could be any type of religion. But you oftentimes get told rules. You oftentimes get told things by people who don't live up to these things. And so oftentimes, one thing that we don't like, my generation, is being told lies, is being told what to do. Because it's like, especially if you telling me what to do and you didn't do that for yourself. And so, that's why we decide we want to figure out what we want to do on our own, because we're not about to listen to people who out here doing what they want to do and trying to tell you what to do. So of course we're going to do what we want to do, because why would we listen to you? So that's how it usually goes. But, that's one thing I had to learn, is to just not go based off of what people told me, but go based off of what God has told me. God has already told us things. He's given us instructions. He's given us guidance. And yes, people around us can tell us stuff, but we have to find people who are living the life that we desire, who are actually not only just speaking in things, but living it out. And so that's what I had to realize. It's like, I hear people talking, like people tell me all this stuff, but I noticed one thing is that most people who had a lot to say and try to tell me what to do as I was growing up, they were doing the exact opposite. So thank God that God created me to be able to hear his voice. Thank God that God took me on a different path, and thank God that I chose to obey and go down the path that he set before me, because it has saved me so much. It has God has protected me so much. He has done amazing things in my life, because I chose not to listen to what other people said. I chose to listen to what God said. And so when you listen to what he says, you realize that life doesn't have to be so hard. You realize that you can partner with him and join the path that he set for you. You can give your ideas to him. You can give your dreams to him. You can give your visions to him. And he will help partner with you to help you fulfill these things and, just really live a fulfilling life. My life, I feel fulfilled. I feel like accomplished, even being so young. Why? Because I chose not to figure it out on my own. I chose not to, rebel because the people who were telling me what to do weren't doing it. I chose not to take the easy way out and settling like most people do, and decide to do the exact opposite. Your parents tell you to do different things, but you're like, I don't really care, I don't want to listen to them, so I'm going to choose to do what I want to do. And now you choose to do what you want to do, and you out here having babies, on drugs and all that stuff, but you listen, nobody can tell you nothing. So thank God that I thank God every day that I'm just different, and I choose to obey, I choose to listen, because I recognize that in obedience, God blesses that. In obedience, God protects that. And I don't want to be too, feel like I'm that person who knows it all and I can't, and that I'm just my ruler. Because I recognize that I'm not. I recognize that I have a creator. I recognize that at the end of this world, I have to answer to someone. And that person is God. And I would hate to stand before him and have to say, you know what? I recognize you. I knew you. But I chose to do what I wanted still. I chose to, live a life how I wanted it. Because I thought that, I'm my ruler and I'm my, people told me, but I just decided to do what I wanted to do. I don't want to stand before him and have to say that. I want to stand before him and say, God, I chose to honor you. I chose to obey the instructions that you gave to me. I chose to live a different life. I chose to be an example that most people didn't get to see. I chose to not let my past define me. I chose to break generational curses off of my family that weren't once broken for me. I chose to take a stance. I chose to not keep on settling for in life. I chose to stop blaming people for the way that they hurt me, for the things that happened to me. I chose to stop blaming them, but I chose to forgive. I chose to be uncomfortable because I wanted to follow you. I chose to be different because I wanted to follow you. And so that's what I want to be able to say to him when I see him. That's what I want to be able to say to him when that day comes. Because why? I don't want him to be like, turn away from me because I never knew you. You know how sad that would be. You know how disheartening that would be. And so, but most people don't even think about that. But let me tell you, there's going to come a day where we have to give an account, where we have to stand before God, and he's going to ask us what we chose to do with our life. He's going to ask us what path we chose to take. Did we choose to take the path that he set before us, or did we choose to take our life into our own hands and go out and do what we wanted? Did we choose to make a difference in this world, or did we choose to just be like everybody else? He's going to ask us. And so I hope that when that day comes, you can give him a good answer, and not an answer that you just had to settle for, and not an answer that's going to be like everybody else who chose to settle in life. So you guys, I really hope that this video encouraged you. I really hope that it just makes you think. God has created a path for us, and it's all individual. It's all different for each person, but the path that he created is straight. And so once we start to partner with him and connect with him, we start to realize that the path that he has set before us. And then we realize that we don't have to keep on feeling unfulfilled in life. We don't have to keep on settling in life. We don't have to feel like we have to figure it all out ourselves, because we're trying to figure it all out. We're trying to figure it out all on our own, and we're not getting any good result out of it. It may be a little tease there, I'm feeling good for a moment, but it's never lasting. It's never truly fulfilling until you partner with God and invite him into your life. So you guys, I thank you so much for being here. I really hope that you can start getting on the path that God has for you, and make your once crooked path, let him make it straight. Let him make you whole. Let him make you new. Let him take you on a different journey. And I guarantee you, you won't recognize your life after that. So you guys, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.